Eastern Europe. And my name is Tatiana, and I am responsible for Central and Eastern Europe for the university programs. A bit about myself: I met some of you on campus already, and you probably know my personal story. But I've joined Google 5 years ago, and I started in Wrocław in the global customer experience team. And I moved to Dublin 2 years ago, and I moved from the sales to people operations about a year ago. So now I'm traveling a lot to stay in touch with the Central and Eastern European universities. And today the agenda for us looks like that. We will cover first the Google internship positions, then we will cover the full-time positions for you, and then we will share some personal stories of the Googlers who are here today with me, and they will share their personal experience about living and working in Wrocław and in Dublin. Then we will be joined by our recruiter Eilish, who will share with you CV and interviews tips and tricks, and we will also leave some time for your questions. I've already seen a couple of them on the Hangout. Guys, my only ask for you will be, can you please ask them in English, because I already received few on a different language. Unfortunately, I wouldn't be able to address them, so please switch to English if you want me to take this question at the very end. And at the very beginning, just to start, here in Google we love the acronyms, and in case if you don't know what is SMB and CE, I'm going to explain it now. SMB stands for small and medium businesses, and CE is Central and Eastern Europe. And for Central and Eastern Europe, we have languages like Polish, Hungarian, Czech, Slovak, Kazakh, Belarusian, Ukrainian, and so on. And new grads who are joining Google, they normally joined us on the entry-level positions, and these positions are located in Dublin, Ireland, and in Wrocław, Poland. And guys, I'm here today with Kamil, Marina, and Natalia, who are going to introduce themselves now.
Okay, hi guys, my name is Kamil. I'm working for SMB Polish team here in Dublin.
Okay, Natalia.
Hi, my name is Natalia. I'm working in Wrocław, Poland. I work for the Russian Global Customer Experience team.
Hi everyone, my name is Marina. I am based here in Dublin in Ireland, and I'm currently working for the YouTube creators team for the Russian market.
Okay, thank you guys, and later we will be joined by Eilish, our recruiter. She will introduce herself after a while. And first, I'm going to start with the students' opportunities. Basically, we do have two kinds of opportunities if you're a student or recent graduate. The first one is an internship, and if you're graduating in 2017 or later, you will be eligible for our internship program. If you are graduating this year or you are a recent graduate, the best way to join Google is to join our entry-level positions, SMB customer sales and SMB global customer experience teams. And like a couple of minutes about Google internships. Unfortunately, the applications for this year are already closed, so that's why I wouldn't spend a lot of time here. But in case you're wondering, so what is the Google internship? Google internship is like a summer internship for 12 weeks, and you're basically working with the team and you are working on the project. So you will have 50% time on the core job and 50% time on the project work, and these are the real business projects, and you will be able to make an impact, the global impact, sometimes even, and you will also be able to expand your professional network. And like as I mentioned already, Eilish, who is our recruiter, will join us later, and she will also cover how to apply to these positions and what is important in your application process. And for now, let's talk about life at Google, and let's talk about life in global customer experience team and SMB sales. Guys, you are working on you are working now, or you have started working on these positions. And if you would do an elevator pitch of your current role, how would you do that?
Okay, so a year ago in March 2014, I've started my my working here in Dublin in Google. And yeah, I start working in a direct program, and I used to work directly with customers. After 9 months, I moved to agency program. So, you know, in SMB sales, you have a lot of opportunities to go from working with direct clients to the agency with the third part, which is, I think, very exciting sometimes. Job is very challenging. There is a lot of challenges, but at the same time, you get a very unique opportunity to gaining a very nice business skill set.
Okay. Thank you, Kamil. And Natalia, can you, because you're still in the global customer experience team, can you please share how would you do the elevator pitch of your role?
So why join the global customer experience? I think that no one can succeed in business without knowing their clients and their needs. And global customer experience is the best place to know what your customers want. We educate clients on AdWords. We help them grow their businesses. We help them solve their issues. And based on their issues, we identify what is not working within Google and fix processes. So we both talk with clients and also work on projects. So it's a great place to figure out how Google works, what you want to do further on at Google, and also get all the necessary skills to go and do it.
Yeah, thank you, Natalia. And I also always try to highlight the thing that Google is making money through AdWords, and to start to work in the business is important to understand how your company makes money, and both these positions are related to our main revenue product. So it is a really good opportunity to understand the business from the very basic. My next question will be to you, Kamil. Like a strong sales pitch is a key to success in the interview process. Can you maybe mention a couple of factors which are important for sales pitch?
So for the sales pitch, especially here in Google, when we are talking with our clients, the main point is to listen your client, to know what the client needs. This is the first thing. Secondly, make a deep dive in his or her account and make a deep dive in the business field where your client is, because this is also the key factor how you can grow their business and improve the campaign, the business, etc. So
yeah. Okay, thank you. And guys, we're all working in a very international company, and the question here would be, what languages do you speak in your teams? Masha?
I can maybe jump for this one. I'm currently part of the EMEA YouTube creators team, and we're a very international team. We all speak a few languages, so every now and then we would have a day when we would all speak one language. And usually 80% of us are fluent in that language, and the other 20 are eager to learn. So it also comes to be a very fun team experience and exercise. But in general, the Dublin office, where I'm based right now, is one of the most multilingual places I've ever visited. I'm always amazed. I get into the elevator to go to a top floor, and during my ride in the elevator, I hear so many different languages. People at Google are usually very international and eager to learn more.
Yeah, I do speak a few languages in my team. Normally, like in the office, it is English, and then I'm going on campus. That might be completely different languages. It might be Russian. It might be even Ukrainian and a bit of Polish. I'm not very professional in this one, but I'm trying. So that's like from my personal experience, that's a very international background around you all the time. So you basically have an opportunity to speak any language you want. My next question will be to you, Natalia. When considering applying to the account associate role, what level of product knowledge is required?
Basically, product knowledge we're going to teach you, right? So when a person joins, we don't expect them to be specialists in AdWords, because it is indeed a product that you need to learn. And of course, we're going to provide all the resources for people to be, professional in their job and to know everything they need. I wouldn't say that, product knowledge is the first thing that we're looking for in the people that we are hiring.
Yeah, I receive this question very often on campus, and students are asking me, should they know AdWords already? Should they be professional in this one? And my answer normally is, we will teach you everything. So yeah, Natalia, I'm agree here with you. And but we definitely would like to see that people are motivated to work with this product. And this is kind of thing what we are going to test you on the interview. So before the interview, Elish will cover it, but just a sneak peek. Before the interview, do the preparation, the basic preparation of the product itself and product knowledge. Every associate account role is paired with a business associate program, and I also receive these questions on campus very often. Natalia, can you please elaborate what is business associate program about and how it helps to develop your career in Google?
Yeah, of course. So BA program is a 2-year program that is tailored to the needs of fresh grads and people who just joined Google. It focuses on both developing the skills that are necessary for your daily job, so the product knowledge, project management, teamwork, and stuff like this, but also on the skills that are needed for your further growth within Google or outside of it, or your personal growth as well. So it's leadership, networking, personal branding, and things like this. Plus, there is a chance to do assignments or media projects that are outside of your immediate job, and thus the program helps to improve your skill set, to grow within Google, and just, I would say, personally grow your career, even if you decide to go outside Google afterwards.
Yeah, thank you. My favorite training from this program was the presenting with charisma. So the most interesting part of it was that we all were recorded while presenting, and it helped me a lot to improve my presentation skills, because when you see yourself presenting on the video, you're just like, oh, probably I need to fix this and this and this. So this program is really helpful for soft skills as well, and it really helps you to develop your skills. My next question will be to Marina, and why it is a great to start in global customers experience teams and a global sales team.
Yeah, this is actually very connected to what you were mentioning before. So from my experience, I joined Google as a fresh grad, and I was part of the SMB team, and I went through the BA program. And it was crucial for me, being a fresh grad, to have the opportunity to keep on learning and to actually get the training, not only the product training, but the general professional training. I was now suddenly a young professional adult, and I needed the support in a more formal way of how to better present my findings, how to analyze the data I'm working with, how to behave in a big international corporation and communicate with my peers from across the globe. And Google gives you this experience as part of the BA program and as part of the SMB onboarding program. And I think that helped me a lot, especially being a fresh grad hire. So I would definitely recommend making sure that when you join a team, that training and onboarding aspect is there.
Thank you, Masha. And I've already pointed out a few times that the new grads positions are available in Poland, Wrocław, and in Google, or in Dublin, Ireland. And however, we value internal mobility a lot. And even if you're joining on the entry-level position in these two locations, you can always move to another place. For example, you can be back to your own country. And actually, the Noogler with whom I joined Google 5 years ago, his dream was always to move back to Moscow, and he did it in 3 years. Or if you don't want to come back to your country, there are always a lot of opportunity to join Google teams in the United States, in Europe, or even sometimes in Asia. And for now, I would like to talk about the life in Wrocław and the life in Dublin. And let's start with Wrocław. Me, myself, I've joined Google in Wrocław, and I think it was a very right decision to do, because this is a tiny office of 300 people located in the city center. center in a very nice town in Poland. And like this is a strategical location for many of the language teams like Hungarian, Ukrainian, Russian, German, French, and Italian, few more. I'm not going to mention all of them. And in this small office, it's always good to build a relationship. And actually, a lot of my friends in Google came from Wrocław office. And guys, can you please share how the Wrocław office, what is Wrocław office about, and your personal experience there?
So I think I will start. I started here in Wrocław, and I've been here for 3.5 years. And as Tatiana mentioned, this office is smaller compared to Dublin, but that creates a very special atmosphere. So your colleagues here are not only your colleagues, but very often they are your close friends. We do a lot of things together outside of work. We travel, we have fun. There are lots of different clubs, sports, movies, and stuff like this. The office itself feels more like home than an office because it's smaller, very cozy, very nice views from the windows to the city, and I enjoy working here immensely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, thank you very much. What do you like? What did you like, or do you like in about living in Wrocław the most? Yeah, I probably will direct this question to Marina because she started in Wrocław as well, and she moved to Dublin, so she can compare two lives into different cities.
Sure, I was hoping I'll get the Wrocław question. Every time I hear Wrocław, I start smiling. I have great memories about being there and starting my journey with Google there. But also, as Natalia mentioned, it really feels like a family. And it's very important it was very important for me. I was a fresh grad. It was my first time starting a new full-time job in a different country. So having the experience of this very friendly, very family-like office, and having fellow Googlers who are also relocating from other countries and joining the office in Poland was very important and really helped get started and have a great time. So I really valued the family-like atmosphere, and also I have to say that Noogler groups are an important part of the onboarding experience within Google. So when you start and you're a new Googler, you're a Noogler, you get a funny hat, and there is a group of fellow Googlers that you get to go through training, onboarding programs, and these are usually the groups that really stick together over time. So it's wonderful to not only keep in touch with the friends I've made in Wrocław, but also keep working with people that I started at Wrocław. Even though so many of them moved to different locations and different teams, we still interact every now and then. It's always nice to see a familiar Wrocław face in Dublin, in Mountain View, or in Tokyo.
Yeah, thank you, Marina. And let's move to the second location, the Dublin Island. Yeah, this is a completely different office compared to Wrocław one. We do have here more than 5,000 people, I think, and a few buildings. And this is the headquarters, the biggest office in Europe, the biggest Google office in Europe. And we do have Camille here who studied in Dublin. And can you please share your experience? How do you like Dublin office?
Of course, so I agree with you that for sure this is the biggest office right now in Europe. More than 5,000 people there. But even though we maybe not with all of those 5,000 I know each other, but with most of people, even they are working in another teams like in LCS or GTech. More or less we know each other because sometimes we collaborate very close. In some kind of projects. There is a lot of nice advantages working here in Dublin. For sure we have 4 restaurants, which is totally cool. The brand new was open last quarter. This is the Italian pizzeria. We have our own gym, our own swimming pool, a health center. So yeah, we have a lot of fun here.
Yeah. Gym and swimming pool are very important, especially when they open the Italian restaurant. And every day you can enjoy pasta and pizza. It's really hard to resist. Marina, I promised to you that I will ask you to compare 2 lives, one in Poland and another one in Dublin. Can you please share your experience of living here in Dublin?
Yeah, it's actually very often a natural transition from Wrocław to Dublin. It's one of the locations where you can relocate within Google, and it's been kind of like a natural step for me. I got a chance to move to a bigger office and also start working in a different team. So this was probably the biggest change. There was just more people, more Googlers who speak even more languages and come from even more diverse backgrounds. But also for me, being in Dublin, really, I got a chance to discover Ireland. It's a beautiful country, very friendly, very welcoming. I started hiking, for example, which I never did before, but I really enjoy the outdoor experience of being in Dublin, and that's kind of like part of your life here. So that's been great. And also, as the guys already mentioned, sports is a big part of after work life here. So that's been wonderful. But I still keep in touch with a lot of my Wrocław friends. Sometimes it feels like we never left, yet we started a new chapter, which is great.
Yeah, that's true. We even have Wrocław lunches once per week where we all meet and we all discuss changes in our life. Okay, guys, and last question before we will jump into the interview process will be to all of you probably. How often do you travel back home? Camille?
So maybe right now, maybe not often. Basically, during some kind of holidays like Christmas or Easter. Maybe more time I spend traveling around the Europe, because Dublin, this is a very nice point in Europe that you can fly wherever you want. And yeah, I'm traveling a lot around Ireland during the weekends. So yeah, I spend much more time here right now.
Yeah. Okay. Natalia, how often do you travel back home?
As Camille said, I think it's personal choice, right? I personally travel around 2 times a year, and I prefer spending the rest of my vacation exploring Europe because Wrocław is very well situated. We are very close to Berlin, Dresden, Prague, Vienna, everything is around, so it's very tempting to just go around and explore countries. And yeah, that's how I prefer traveling right now. But of course, if you want to go home, there are opportunities to go more frequently than I do. And a lot of my colleagues go and work from their home cities, so there's always an opportunity like this.
Yeah, okay. Marina, how often do you travel home?
I think I'm also part of the weekend travelers, and considering how easy it is in Dublin to move around Europe, I definitely take advantage of that opportunity. And it's the same for Wrocław. It's very centrally located, but I also try to go back home as much as possible. If you keep working within the region that you come from, it's also a nice opportunity to combine work and personal travels. So as much as possible, I try to, if I travel for work, to also go visit my parents. But with Googlers, very often home is in many places, so that makes it even more spread around.
Yeah. I travel back home every quarter, and first of all because of my role, and yeah, I'm traveling a lot to Moscow, but also I like to spend a week home during the summertime. And when I was in SMB Global Customer Experience team, I loved to work from Moscow office because it's very quiet, it's very tiny, and you always have an opportunity to connect online. It doesn't matter where you are, in Moscow, in Wrocław, and Dublin. So I always use this opportunity to work from home just to spend a bit more time home with my parents. Okay, guys, thank you very much. And now we are going to jump in to the recruitment process. And we have Elish here. Elish, come in. Elish is a recruiter for Central and Eastern Europe, and she is in Google for many years. If you can maybe introduce yourself quickly, because we haven't done it at the very beginning.
Absolutely. So I'm Ailish Cassidy. As Tanya said, I'm the recruiter for the CE region. I'm in Google now 5 years, and I still love it as much as I did on the very first day, and I really enjoy hiring for this market.
Yeah, and guys, the recruitment process for internship and for full-time positions is slightly different, and Yeah, Eilish, if you can explain us what's the difference between these two processes.
So the intern recruitment process is a relatively short process in comparison to the full-time interview process. So the intern recruitment process involves 2 phone screens, one with the hiring manager and one with a member of the team. If the candidate is successful, we will then proceed to offer the candidate. The full-time hiring process involves 2 phone interviews, one with the recruiter and one with a member of the relevant team for which the candidate is interviewing for. If the candidate is then successful at the business phone interview stage, they will then proceed to the on-site interview stage, which will be 3 to 4 interviews depending on the particular team. And if they're successful, they will then be passed over to the hiring committee review. And if they proceed through that process, we will then proceed to give them an offer, which is the part of the job I absolutely love.
Okay, thank you very much. And as a recruiter, you probably see hundreds and hundreds of CVs on a weekly, monthly basis. What are your do's and don'ts for the good CV?
Sure. So I'd say first and foremost, ensure that you run a very, very thorough spell check on your CV. It's absolutely crucial not to present your CV to any company, let alone Google, with spelling errors. So that's very, very important. Then second of all, I would emphasize that you should list your achievements rather than just listing your role responsibilities, and quantify those accomplishments by adding metrics and data where possible. We really want to see the impact that you've made, so don't be shy to add data and metrics where possible. I would also recommend try and, in order to make your CV visually look better, to try and use bullet points where possible.
Okay, thank you. And what would be your top 2 tips for interviews?
Okay, so first and foremost, preparation is so important. You need to really ensure that you, first of all, understand clearly the role that you're applying to, that you've done the relevant homework on the team and the CE market, Google products. Second tip I would give is to really listen to the question that the interviewer is asking you and answer that question. I would also recommend using an interview technique called STAR method. It's very, very useful when answering behavioral style interview questions. So you would start off by explaining a little bit about the situation you were in or the task that you had to accomplish. Then you would clearly state what the action you took to solve either the problem you were faced with or the task you were given. And then you will always bring it back to the actual result and quantify this, add metrics or data where possible.
Thank you, Eilish. Guys, if you've been on my events, I always highlight this model to you. STAR, situation, task, action, result, and the result part is all quite often the result part is missing in the CV. Please make sure that you put it there. Thank you very much. And as we mentioned already a couple of times, moving we have new grads positions available in Wrocław and in Ireland, in Dublin, and changing the country is a very exciting experience. Do we get any kind of support while moving? Marina, if you can take this question, please.
Yeah, I've moved a few times, so definitely can speak from personal experience. Google offers relocation support, and that comes as part of our company benefit, and that's something that your recruiter can walk you through in details. But I would like to point out that in addition to that, you also get the support of Googlers and your peers. When I joined and got the offer, the next email I got was from the hiring manager saying, "Hi, I will be your manager. I'm here to help you out. So let me know if you have any questions. Can I put you in touch with other interns who are preparing to come to Poland, any help you need?" So the teams are always very, very helpful. Your manager is a great point of contact, so you can rely on that support group as well. And both of my relocation experiences have been very smooth. I've quite enjoyed them, and it hasn't been a stressful experience, which I really appreciated.
Okay, thank you very much. Thanks, everyone. Guys, we are now approaching the Q&A session. I do have your questions here on my laptop, and I will try to read them carefully. I think this question will perfectly fit you, Eilish. What are the and it got the most voices. So what are the important criteria that you take into account to select applicants for an interview?
Sure. So I suppose first and foremost, it depends on the relevant role that they're applying for. So we'd be looking to see what skills or experience they would have for that particular position. That's probably the most important thing. And then I think I would also emphasize like what their leadership skills are, because that's something that we really look for in candidates who can really lead themselves through situations and see results.
Okay, thank you very much. The next question, it's a very funny one, so it's I will ask it, and guys, if you want to take it, whoever, just jump in. If not, I can take it. Imagine you are also students willing to work in Google, like we are now, and we are people who hire employees. Say 3 sentences. Why should we be interested in you? Anyone? Marina, maybe? Natalia?
I can try.
Yeah.
So you should be interested because you will keep learning, and that's connected to something I've mentioned before. This is the culture of non-stop learning and non-stop developing your skills. You should be interested because you will have a great peer group. Googlers are some of the most amazing, smartest, and so motivated and driven people. It's just incredible. And thirdly, you should be interested because it's a truly global company, and if you're looking to gain international experience and work with people from all over the world, as well as touch large groups of users and impact large groups of customers, that's definitely a place for you.
Yeah, one thing I would like to add is even you make some small things in SMB, you really have sometimes a very big impact in your market. So maybe that's why.
And I think also to add one, innovation is at the heart of everything we do, and I think that's something that I've seen in my 5 years at Google. I love the fact that, as you said, Camille, you can always think about ways to improve things, and Google is an incredibly innovative company.
I would also add ownership. So you basically own your own job and own your own role. So if something is not working, you go and you fix it. And we actually had a couple of examples in Wroclaw about this one. And as a result of one of this action that something was not working was the 24 hours phone support for Russia. And Russia is the only market in Europe. I'm not talking about the English-speaking markets, but in Europe, Russia is the only market who has a support 24 hours. Okay, the next question will be, Natalia, probably to you. What kind of goals should a person achieve in the first 1 or 2 months of his or her work at SMB Services?
So I would say that if you are talking about first 1 or 2 months, it's about learning. So you need to understand how the team works, what is looked at, what are the metrics. As our English said, we are a very numbers-driven organization, so we look at numbers as well and metrics. So you need to understand that. But realistically speaking, I know that we are all very ambitious people. So usually we will go way beyond this. They start exploring other opportunities, talking to people, building their network, and that's great. So I think the pace at which you learn depends on you. In the first months, what is required from you is understanding the core job that you're going to be doing and growing in it, learning all the things that you need to know.
Yeah. Okay, thank you. And guys, I see some familiar names on the questions, and I definitely see someone from campus. Hi, guys. I'm really happy that you are listening to us today. Elish, the next question probably will be the best one to you. What is the main difference between applying at Google than at applying for other companies? Is there anything in particular that Google looks for?
So I suppose our website is actually a great resource to go into more detail around this, but I think there's 4 key criteria. The first one being the relevant experience for the role. So as I discussed previously, we will always look to see what the skills and experience are for the role. We also assess candidates on their leadership skills. We want to ensure that they have a strong ability to see projects through to the end. And then we will also ensure that they're the right fit for the company. So I think Google is not unlike any company, but we really do look for the very, very best possible students that we can hire.
Okay, thank you. And guys, I also see the question about the 2 years educational program. How does it organize for newcomers and etc. It is the business associate program, and Natalia already, I think, answered this question. But maybe if you need more details, just Natalia, how is it structured? How is it incorporated in the daily job?
So as I said, it's a 2-year program, all right? So for 2 years, you have scheduled meetings, different projects that you participate in, trainings, and stuff like this. So usually you have in advance information which trainings you're going to have in the upcoming 2 or 3 months. During those days, you are completely taken out of the job, so you don't have to balance, you know, I have to do my usual job and attend that training. You have the time to reflect, to learn, to fully experience the trainings themselves, and this is spread out through these 2 years with the different modules, and also you have an opportunity to go for an assignment or do a project in the meanwhile, and also time is obviously allocated for that, so that you can, you know, do it fully immersed, fully engaged, and get the best out of it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Thank you. And the next question will be, there are a couple of questions about how many interns we are looking for, how many full-time positions we are looking for. I will split it, and the first part will be to you, Eilish. What is the number of people Google plan to hire this year and the upcoming in the upcoming years in the Central Europe? I understand that we don't have like exact numbers, but maybe some information.
It would be very difficult to give specific numbers around this because obviously it depends on the business needs.
Yeah.
So I would just say keep a close eye out on our website, and you know, if there is a role that's open and you're interested, we would actively encourage you to apply. But we really cannot give definite numbers for this year or beyond that because the business needs change.
Thank you. But for some markets like Central and Eastern Europe, I'm in Google for 5 years, and this region almost every time has open positions for the full time. So definitely search the web, look on the website. I would say 90% you will find the position for yourself if you are speaking one of the Central Eastern European language. And the next question, again, it is related to the hiring. And Natalia, I think you will be the best person to answer. Probably, again, we don't have the numbers, but just a bit of information. How many interns do you need in Google Wrocław, and in what spheres?
So Google Wrocław is the office that mostly focuses on global customer experience, so that's the type of interns that we're looking for. At the moment, this year, we will have 12 interns, if I am right. If I'm wrong, Elish, please correct me. So it's different markets for which the interns are going to be working. And every single time, like I've been at Google for 3.5 years, and every single time, every new year, we look for more and more interns. The program is growing. We are very happy about that. Stay tuned and check out the next years as well.
Thank you. And Marina, next question will be probably to you, as you've been calm for a while. And I'd say it's a philosophical one. I'm really curious why there are around 7 steps for interviews and on-site interviews for full-time job. Actually, that make anyone depressed before applying.
Well, it's obviously there is a process, and we want to make sure we recruit the best people, and we make sure we place them in the positions that are the best fit for them, that we currently have open. But I actually just wanted to say that talking to Googlers, even when it's during an interview, at least for me, was very pleasant. And the recruiters and the hiring managers or people who interview really try to make it an enjoyable experience for you. And it's all about telling your story and sharing what you've done before and how you see yourself fit into this certain position within Google. So obviously I was very nervous, and it was a very important step for me to apply for the internship initially and then be converted full-time. So it was a big deal, but I quite enjoyed the process, and I wouldn't call it stressful. Just make sure you do your homework, you have the information at hand, and the recruiters as well as the interviewers are there to guide you. So I hope you actually enjoy the process, because I quite much did.
Thank you. And my question, maybe Camille, to you. Can you give an example? Oops, switched. Can you give an example of some typical interview questions about Googliness?
About Googliness?
Yeah.
Whoa. So basically, maybe the one question which I remember from my interview: how do you collaborate in a group of people?
Yeah.
I think this is the question is essential, and the skills how you can collaborate in your team or with other teams is very crucial sometimes in Google when you are working in some big projects. So this one I think.
Yeah. Okay. Anyone else want to share the Googliness question? No. When I was doing the interview in the services team, I was always asking questions about volunteering experience and about the achievements outside work and studies. And if you have any sports achievements, if you have any kind of activities that are not really related to your current studies or your current work experience. My next question will, yeah.
I just wanted to add that sometimes Googlers or people who apply to Google have they speak a bunch of languages. So it's always interesting for me as an interviewer to understand what the motivation was behind choosing to learn a certain language. And very often there are great stories behind it, and they also show the extracurricular interest that the person has. So I always like that Googliness question as well.
Yeah, guys, probably two last questions, and I will take these ones who has a lot of votes. The first one you mentioned about relevant experience that Google looking for. I would like to ask what kind of experience from school, academic experience, or from internship you're looking for. What kind of backgrounds?
So I think any skills that any opportunities that you've been given that have helped to develop your analytical skills, I would certainly say to include them. Like strong analytical skills are crucial at Google, so absolutely include them in your CV and ensure to reference your analytical thinking and how you actually demonstrated that in your interview as well.
Yeah. What else? What kind of background we also need except for the analytical?
Ideally, online skills. Like I mean, it's obviously something you can learn, but you may not necessarily have that experience. But once you do your homework in the interview and you come to the interview with a passion to develop your skills in this area, that's really, really important as well. So you have to have that interest in the online advertising industry.
Okay, and the last one, it is quite short, maybe again to you, Eilish.
Sure.
How long after the graduation can I apply for the entry position?
So, I mean, we actually do start interviewing candidates before they even graduate. So you don't have to have graduated before you can apply to Google. So we're really excited to see people in their final year, for example, applying for full-time roles. Obviously, for the internship, you can be in your penultimate year to apply for a position. But for the full-time roles, we're certainly open to seeing candidates before they've officially graduated.
Okay, thank you very much, guys. I think that's it for today. Thank you very much for listening, Camille, Eilish, Marina, Natalia. Thank you very much for joining and sharing your experience. And guys on Hangout, I hope you liked it and the information was useful for you. And also want to point it out that there would be a number of links available under the YouTube video or below the Hangout. And here as well. So please have a look, and also please check these links to find more about the positions we explained to you. And so can't wait to see your Google applications, and maybe we will meet one day in Google. Thank you.
Thank you.